Hey everyone, it's Mojaxx back in the DJcity UK lab. It's getting on now for 18 months since I reviewed the first big product from Mixars, the Duo Battle Mixer for Serato DJ. Well, following on from the Duo, we have now the Quattro. This is a 4-channel club mixer designed still with Serato DJ in mind. It's got 2 audio interfaces in there, but overall a much bigger and much more expansive unit than the Duo. Let's get down to it. As soon as you get hands-on with the Quattro, you can tell this really is a mixer designed for the rigours of club install use. It's built like a tank, with a heavy metal casing and nutted metal pots everywhere. It's taken everything I've thrown at it in testing without complaint. The paint finish is not the most glamorous I've ever seen, but should be very hard wearing. One thing that I complained about with the Duo was the lack of contrast in the colour scheme of the knobs, and Mixars haven't done much about that. But one thing which is much better on the Quattro is the brightness of the LEDs in their off state. With all the controls on here, it's still very easy to see which buttons are active and which aren't. The rear panel offers more pointers to the mixer's intended use too. I can't recall seeing a staggered, recessed design like this on a DJ mixer since the Pioneer DJM600, but it actually makes a lot of sense, with mission-critical hookups like the master and booth outputs being nicely out of the reach of DJs with wandering hands. You have the master output on balanced XLRs as well as unbalanced RCAs, and there's a little knob to attenuate the level down if the DJs in a venue get a bit too redline happy. There's also a booth output on balanced jacks and a send and return loop on jacks, which we'll get to later. I always appreciate a dedicated record output on RCAs as found here, and there's an internal power supply with an IEC connector. Each of the 4 channels has a switchable phono line input with individual grounding posts as well as a separate line input, so fully covered there. There are a pair of mic inputs on the Quattro which sound clean enough, one with dedicated level and tone controls on an XLR jack combo socket, and a second one which can be fed into channel 4 on the mixer with a jack input. Queuing is fully covered thanks to both sizes of jack socket, a Q Master blend knob and split queue. You can select multiple channels at once, which is important on a 4-channel machine like this. Sound quality overall is very good. The mixer is fully digital and has a clean sound whether playing from USB or the quality phono preamps. Speaking of USB, yes, there are 2 on the top panel, and each of the 4 channels can be assigned independently to USB 1 or 2, making for very straightforward changeovers or back-to-back sets. The 2 interfaces are 24-bit and sound great. The Serato DJ integration is obviously the standout feature of the Quattro, and it really is excellent. It's fully plug and play, so DJs won't need club kits or any extra licenses to use the software. There are lots of software controls on the mixer surface itself, with library scrolling, track loading, loops and loop rolls taken care of by pushable encoders. But it's the pads which are really killer. Well positioned, a good size with a great responsive feel, the pads put a bunch of functions close to hand. The first mode gives you 8 hot cues, with a shift mode offering 4 cues and transport controls for internal mode, playback, temp cue and pitch adjustment. The second pair of modes gives you the SP8 sample pads, for which there is a separate volume fader, and a whole user page of 8 pads which can be MIDI assigned to whichever functions you want in the software. There are shift and sync buttons below the pads too, and each set of controls can switch between 2 decks, offering you the ability to control all 4 decks in Serato DJ. Overall, the pads and other controls are really powerful as a performance tool. It's hard to overstate how good it is having so much power right at your fingertips. Thanks to the transport controls, it's definitely feasible to be running 2 decks with DVS and then dropping in sync tracks on the other 2 in internal mode. For any Serato DJ user, this really does make the Quattro stand out from the 4-channel competition. There's a lot going on with effects on the mixer. You've got knobs on each channel which can be assigned to combo filter, a dub echo, white noise and crush. They work well and are post fader and post crossfader, as are the effects in the main effects unit, which is always good to see. That unit is a mixed bag, with some effects which sound great and a few others which I'd say could do with a little tweak or 2. They are fully updatable though, and in the time that I've had the unit, Mixars have already made some changes to effects through firmware, which I do really appreciate. The screen itself is nothing to write home about, with quite a limited viewing angle, but it does the job nicely enough. The good news about the effects is that they do synchronize BPM with Serato DJ in the software, so that's one less thing to think about. Also, the effects send and return loop on those jacks does work really nicely with insert effects like the Pioneer RMX 1000, which a lot of effects loops don't. The other good news on the effects front is that Serato DJ's internal software effects also work post fader and post crossfader, So if you do want some effects which aren't there in the hardware, you can easily map control of those to the user page on the pads. There's one area of the Quattro which might well disappoint some people, and that's the crossfader. It's got a decent sharp cut and the cut-in distance is respectable, but inside there it is just a regular Alps fader, just like the line faders. There's no fancy tech going on at all. There is room inside the mixer to fit a mini inner fader, a pro crossfader, and even a full-size inner fader, but those are all options you'll have to look at as an extra. It's only really an issue because I'm certain Mixars gained a lot of turntablist fans with the Duo, so a lot of the people looking eagerly at the Quattro will have been hoping for something a bit more advanced in the fader department. For general club use, it shouldn't present too much of a problem at all. So there you go, my take on the Quattro from Mixars. Fundamentally, this is a very solid entry into the 4-channel club mixer market. It's a very busy segment of the market. There's a lot of mixers out there, 4 channels, audio interface, over $1,000. Yeah, there's a lot out there, but the Mixars Quattro does stand out from the crowd, mainly because of the Serato DJ support. Yeah, you've got a great build, great sound, that's all there, it's all covered. The connectivity for a club or bar install, again, all there, but the Serato DJ stuff just really stands out. It's so good. These pads are just fantastic, really responsive, a good size, and their location there on the mixer just feels just really comfortable, really natural to use. And you've got your library scrolling, track loading, all of that is there. I love that aspect of this mixer, I really do. The 2 USB ports as well, yeah, easy changeovers, easy back-to-back sets. There's no fiddling around, just change each channel individually. Again, really simple to use. In a club environment, lots of DJs changing over. No one's gonna have an issue with the Quattro. So yeah, it's great value. I think at $1,500 or thereabouts street price, it looks like it's gonna be there, which is a little bit more than some on the market, but they don't have the dedicated Serato DJ control. So if you run a venue where you have got lots of DJs who all use Serato DJ software, then this thing is kind of a no-brainer from that regard. It's another impressive product from Mixars, and again, I'm excited to see where they keep going with their brand. This is good, solid stuff. Thank you for watching today. Make sure you subscribe for all our future tips, tricks, and product reviews. I'll see you soon.